What's up, Run fam? It's your boy Cecil Smith, back with the Hoka One One Clifton 6. Yeah, I know this is a little old, but when I was getting the 6, I looked at the 7 too because it was out, and the only difference in these shoes was the upper. Midsole, outsole was the same. So this is just for completeness' sake because I know the shoe's been out for a while, but I've got 70 miles on the shoe now, and my impression of the shoe is I would call it vanilla, but I think it's a little bit of an insult to vanilla, to be honest with you. There's nothing that the shoe does bad per se, and I like the upper on this one better than the 7, but uh, as far as anything that the Hoka does great or better than any other shoe, I don't see it. The cushioning, it's a max cushion shoe. It's supposed to be a daily trainer type shoe, which it's held up better than the Rincon that I had. But other than that, I mean, it's like as far as running goes, it's just a shoe. If you look at the outsole, the rubber has held up better on these, but it's not the lightest shoe in the world, even though they've got the foam coming down to the bottom where they've made into tread, which I'm after a while of running on a shoe like this, I'm not a fan of it. I'm just not. I would rather have some good outsole coverage because when this goes and it does start getting into the foam, just the bottom is going to make the shoe unwearable. I like a little more tread on the bottom. And I think that may be because I'm a heavier runner. If you're 140, 150 pounds, may not make a difference. Um, but for me, being in that 190 range, it seems like the bottom of the shoes, the outsoles wear out so much faster. And it doesn't make the shoe like completely unusable, but it doesn't make it, good to run in, especially in inclement weather. And these shoes on the track, because of the exposed foam on the bottom, feels almost like a Velcro uh, type feel where it's real sticky, at least at the track that I go to. So if I'm doing any track workouts, this shoe's kind of automatically out at the beginning. Uh, that being said, what did I like about the shoe? I mean, it is a nice cushion shoe. It's a step up from like a regular, just, plain Jane running shoe for sure. But it's nothing to write home about. I do like how they kind of took care of the Achilles back here because I've had Achilles issues before with different shoes, and this being open in the back here was a nice move on their part. Now for the 7, they redesigned that, flared out the back so that it doesn't have that, but the hook is gone on the back where you can just grab and pull the shoe on. So I mean you're sacrificing a little bit. Other than that, I like the mesh upper. It does have a lot of give in it, and it's seemed to be breathable. But I got this shoe. I ran it mostly during the winter, and it was good for that. The shoe didn't feel like it was overly cold or anything like that, where it was just letting a ton of air or anything through. Don't know how it'll be during the winter or during the warmer months, but we'll see. I'll do another one like 150 miles or maybe 200 because I'm gonna have to wear this shoe for a while. My wife is not gonna let me just go get out new shoes every time, even though I'm not excited to run in them anymore. And that's kind of the point where I've got to with the shoes. Like sometimes you get shoes where you're just excited to go run in them, but this shoe, like I said, it's got the cushion in it, but it doesn't have the energy return of some other shoes. The Asics Gel Nimbus 22 Lite, that's the shoe I had been running in before this. That shoe had good energy return. Um, you know, a lot of these other shoe companies have kind of developed their own foam, and Hoka stayed with the EVA model of foam, and these other companies, it's probably an EVA derivative, but it's still, well, I think they have better energy return. I do think they're better at compressing and then getting back out. So they have the cushion now of the Hoka in these other shoes. It's just they also have a little bit more get up and get you back into your stride. And I think if you're going to pay 120, $130 for a pair of shoes, high-end running shoes, then it should help you at least a little bit. But these they would be good for almost like a recovery run or a long run or something like that. But on the daily, they're okay. They're vanilla. They're white bread. And I say white bread because if you had a pair of shoes like this, and this is what I was running in before, right? Was like, cause I didn't know anything about running shoes, so I just grabbed a pair of shoes. These are Asics GT 1000s, And you know, I used them. I used them a good bit, but there's the other side, so you can see the GT 1000. These are not a very good shoe, right? If the Hoka's a white bread, then this is a stale cracker, right? And the same thing, this is a Nike Zoom All Out, and you know, kind of the same thing. Didn't know a whole lot about shoes. Like, oh, I'm gonna go pick up a pair of running shoes. These were like $80 at the time, but they're horrible. They're absolutely terrible. And they do have some of uh, that Zoom uh, cushioning in the middle, but then they have this air pocket like all around it, which makes the shoe completely unstable in the back. You know, it wasn't horrible for running, but it's not a good running shoe, and there's almost no energy return in the shoe either. So, you know, as far as that goes, you know, the Hoka is a huge step up from that type of shoe, but there's other running shoes out there that do everything better. You know, Asics has developed the Flight Foam. New Balance has the Fresh Foam X. Nike does have the Zoom Foam and the React Foam. Uh, Brooks has DNA Loft Foam. Under Armour has the Hover Foam, where they've worked with another chemical company to develop it. You know, I think that's what we need to see next from Hoka is to go out and either develop their own foam in house, or you know, some way to get that energy return back into the shoe, because they were an innovator with the max cushioning, and now everybody's kind of caught up to them and passed them. You know, if it was a race, you know, they started out, they had a huge lead. Now everybody's caught them and kind of passed them, because there's nothing on this shoe that's the best. You know, the uppers, not the best. The midsole's not the best. The outsole's not the best. So depending on what you like, there's another shoe out there that does it better, in my opinion, than the Hoka Clifton 6. And even the 7, it was the same way. Now, I did talk to a guy today. The 8, when it comes out, is going to be like 10 to 15% lighter, and they've redone the outsole, because the outsole was the same on the 6 and 7, and there's not much tread here. You know, if it's inclement weather, or you're running like on concrete or a slicker surface, it's just not the funnest experience. And that's kind of where I got to with the shoe, where it's just like, well, you know, it's what I got. You know, I'll go run in it, but it's not exciting to run in. And I probably won't buy Hokas anymore until they come up with some other innovation. You know, just lightening the shoe, just making it better. I mean, it's probably be like a cross between the Rincon and the Clifton, where it's at now. And for me, I don't know if it's just me being, you know, like I said, a heavier runner, but it's just not an exciting shoe to run in to me anymore. Now, one thing about it, I did buy it, you know, like I said, a year and a half old, so I don't know if the foam had lost something at that point, but you know, the cushioning's still there. It's just not the recovery in the shoe. And if you know, you look at it, it's still got some pretty good structure to it. Some good fight back to the shoe. It's not super stiff, but just not an exciting shoe for me to run in. So I probably won't be looking for Hokas anymore. The next shoe I'll go to is probably going to be the Asics Gel Nimbus Light 2s. My son did get a pair of those, and they look pretty interesting. And like I said, for me, the best shoe that I wore last year was probably that shoe, because it's light, it's lighter, it's got the outsole traction, and it's got the energy return in it. Now, that being said, maybe I need to look at a shoe that does hold up better, more than I need to look at a shoe that gives the energy return and helps me spring along. I did run recently some sub 10-minute miles strung together, which is good for me. So I ran 4 of them in a row, you know, a sub 44 mile, which is a good run for me. So it did let me get up there. You know, it didn't hold me back, I guess, speed wise, but it's not a shoe that feels fast, or one that you're going to want to do like tempo trainings in. So that's it for me and the Hoka One One Clifton 6 after 70 miles. All right. See you later. Be careful.